I am taking these little glass test tubes and I've been heating them up and necking them down a little bit. Then I'll send them through a annealing process. It's done with the current I have. They go in here at almost 500 degrees Celsius, 5,000 degrees, and then they're slowly brought back down to room temperature. Once they're back down to room temperature, they're in this form. They're in this form here. At this point, I will take it and I will hook it up to my vacuum setup I have right here. Hook up the vacuum pump. As it goes down into the vacuum, you can see the different colors. Now, right now, it's just got straight air in there. I'm going to inject some CO2 in there. And now the arc that goes through there is a little bit less purple, and it's more white. I'm going to flush CO2 through here 3 to 4 times, and then continue to pull down in a vacuum. The more times I flush this through with CO2, the purer the contents of this vacuum tube should be. Do one final check, all that good. While it's still under a vacuum. Start to heat up again. Let's see. Don't do it too quick. It'll just shatter. One final test to see how we can do it. And then turn it on. It should look. We've got these two done right here. This one's the CO2, as you can see by the white light. And this one is just straight air, as you can see from the purple flame we got. Now, as you can see from my box of failures here, it hasn't been going extremely well, but I did have a bunch. I'm still going through the annealing process here. This one right here. Got a nice white arc on it. Well, let's try this again. set to 477 degrees Celsius. And then we simply repeat the process. I started to run into a problem earlier today where a bunch of these glass tubes were cracking up at the neck. And part of the problem is I wasn't preheating the tubes enough. And as soon as I was grabbing it with the pliers, they would just immediately start to crack. So those can also be added to the failures. And we have another sequel. And I've got one more of these pre-made for the night. I wanted to get above 95% gas purity in here. I don't know how many times I'd have to flush this. My guess is probably 5 or 6. I know I've seen charts before where they're talking about filling propane tanks and how many times you have to fill it up to 50 psi and drop it back down to remove all of the air. And I figured I'd kind of use the same method, charging this with CO2 and then vacuuming everything back out. I tried it before where I had the manifold back here, but it just kept on pushing the same air in and out. And so by putting the T-manifold quite a bit closer to the glass itself, I cut out a lot of extra steps. So that's my for tonight. Look at the CO2 tank down there, which just feeds into this manifold. Got the vacuum pump down there. And then over here you can see the light. You can see the different glass ampules we got down there. And then here's another one that's the temperature slowly coming back down on. But these over here are pre-made but haven't had the gas put in there yet. So as soon as these come down to temperature, I'm going to probably switch gases at that point. The next gas I'll be going to is, I've got a small tank of helium that probably won't be much good, but the next one I'm going to try is oxygen. After that, I'm going to try this nitrogen that I use for refrigeration. Once I've got those done, I've got a 99.5% argon grade, or argon mix, or straight argon, and then a tank of nitrous oxide. I've also got a hydrogen nitrogen mix and another tank of helium. This one's a little bit more purity than that one. That's just the party balloon stuff. I'm not quite sure what grade that would be. But yeah, that's my project for the night. And here's how it's going. So while these done, I'll probably be done with these for tonight and on to the next project tomorrow, which is probably more of this. Not quite sure how to end it.